It's fun to take responsibility. It's fun to test the waters. The hardest thing to put across to oneself and to other people is that the universe is a more friendly place than we have been told. Paranoia, culture is institutionalized paranoia. And it's very hard to decondition oneself from this. No matter how deconditioned you may think you are, there is more and more work to be done. And I think the essence of Taoism and why its roots in nature are so powerful is because what Taoism is saying is, if you will quiet your mind and if you will pay attention, you will discover that you are supported and cared for by the dynamic of the universe. This should be obvious by virtue of the fact that you're even alive. I mean, how unlikely is your existence? I put it to you, pretty unlikely. And yet, here you are. Well, do you just think it was the greatest series of well-rolled dice in history? That's silly. That's ridiculous. Probability would never have delivered us to this room this afternoon. Probability sculpted by loving intent has delivered us to this room this afternoon. Once you can sense that living intent and, make it an object of familiarity, that is the antidote to cultural paranoia and to the acceptance of your identity through imposed definitions by other people. Something so extraordinary is happening on this planet. I mean, for hundreds of millions of years, biology flowed across the surface and species advanced and retreated and sensory organs were refined and redefined and so forth and so on. But about 50,000 years ago, language broke loose. And language is the sheer will of information itself to transform itself. I mean, our medium is meat, but we are made of information, and that information could be fed into a computer, crystallized into a virus. What we are is a long message that is being typed out in proteins by thousands of ribosomes, coordinated over time. We are sort of like a phonograph record. And when you're young, certain enzyme systems, certain genes are turned on. And then you pass into midlife, other genes are turned on, certain genes are turned off. It's like a melody, theme and variation being brought back, the theme being enriched and worked, and then finally the whole thing builds to a crescendo, and then one by one the genes are turned off and the audience tugs on its overcoats and cabs are hailed and people go home for the evening. But that's what you are. You're a story, a piece of code being run in the great computer of the world. And like the self-transforming machine elves in the DMT trance who can make things with language, so too we can make things with language. We can coax ideas into matter and make engines and dynamos and transmitters and oscillators and all these things. Yeah.